what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're back here at Walker Ford in Clearwater, Florida, and guess what? I have that truck that has a lot of people talking. This is it. This is a 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning. But before we get into Ford's first electric full-size pickup truck, let's talk about what's going on here. The F-150. It's the bread and butter of Ford Motor Company, one of those top-selling trucks in the United States, and now for the first time, switching to electrification. Now, we've already brought you the GMC Hummer EV truck. We brought the walk around at the Chicago Auto Show of the Silverado EV, but now at dealerships across the country, these F-150 Lightnings are arriving. Now, the Lightning name is nothing new to Ford. There was 2 generations previously before this one. One of them had a naturally aspirated V8, and then the other one, the second gen, had a supercharged V8. No more internal combustion engine. We got twin electric motors, but what I want to find out is this the best bang for the money? Is it worth the price going with a base trim? Yes, we have the entry level, what's called Lightning Pro trim, or should you wait out for the Silverado EV? Let's go ahead, let's dive in our Ford F-150 Lightning and find out. Now, when it comes to the base trim, I'm glad they're calling it Pro, because if you're gonna compare this to a Ford F-150 XL, there is no comparison. At the front of the business, the only way, and there's a couple of them, to tell that this is the Pro is gonna be your daytime running lamps. Daytime running lamps, LED, just like on your other trims, but the big difference is they stop on the corner. On the other trims, like the Lariat that we brought to you here on Raiti's Rides, this actually illuminates all the way across the front. Now, you are gonna get standard LED headlights, which is awesome. Plus, what's great is that you still got that usable front-mounted trunk. Now, coming across the front end of this Ford F-150 Lightning, I think what a lot of people are gonna like about this truck, it looks like an F-150. So you do have this flat black material. This is another way to tell that this is the base Pro trim. If you haven't seen the Lightning Lariat that I did, I'll leave it at the end of this one. You have your familiar Ford blue oval, and here's where a base has some interesting things. Forward-facing camera on the base Pro trim. Nice to see that technology. We come back down, all flat black, which is a cohesive, clean design, and this is gonna take a better beating over time than anything that would be gloss black. You do have your tow hooks at the front, one on this side, one on the driver's side. That's to help pull those lesser trucks off the side of the road. And then, of course, coming across the whole front end, you got that nice, familiar face of the Lightning, and then this will open up. Power assist opens up and gives you tons of room. We'll show you that very shortly. Now, you'll notice this large air intake area. Air is gonna flow in. You have active shutters that open and close because we do have a liquid-cooled lithium-ion battery pack, and this one has the standard battery pack. We'll talk more about numbers in a few seconds. Now, when we get up onto the hood, you got that broad body style, everything going towards the A-pillars. Very, very, muscular-looking hood, even though there's no actual muscle, V8 muscle underneath the hood. But coming around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. So on our Pro trim, you get an 18-inch wheel. And this is another area where, guess what? It does not look standard base. Machined aluminum, gloss black. This is the smallest wheel though. It's 18-inch. You could go up to a 21-inch wheel. Watch the Lariat trim. Check out the design of the wheel on that particular truck. But I'm actually digging the way that this one looks because it looks like a traditional style wheel you'd find on an F-150. Now, you'll notice that we have Michelin Primacy tires, 275 on the width, meaty 65 series sidewall, and this truck, all of the F-150 trims have 2 electric motors, one up front, one out back. I'm gonna have Steven kind of zoom in and show off the suspension. You got your upper control arm, your shock absorber, springs, and everything else. Behind that, we do have that electric motor that's gonna drive the front wheels. But I'm really digging how they kept this Pro trim Wait until you hear the price point. It's gonna blow your mind. Now, coming down the side, you do have the F-150 badge with our Pro. This is not a charge port door. This particular side is for looks, to kind of balance out the style. The actual charge port door is on the driver's side, and we'll show you that when we get to the front. Now, on the Pro trim, you do have flat black on the mirror caps, just like we have up front on the grille. We got our zone LED lighting and 360-degree cameras. That is standard on the Pro trim. You can see that this is a full-size truck. Not ginormous like the Hummer EV truck from GMC. Also weighs a lot less than that Hummer EV truck, but I think this is gonna be the hot selling point, is how this truck is styled. On the door handles, you do have flat black because this is the entry-level trim. And like I said, the flat black here matches all the other flat black around the truck. Coming down the side, your traditional body lines of the cab. We do have a tonneau cover, which is gonna help give you even more dry storage capability besides the space that we have underneath the front. And then continuing our way back, you'll notice the lightning badge. As we kind of come around, I love the way they did the badging. Definitely is gonna get people's attention. Let me know what you think about the name. Are you happy that they kind of revived the name from the past, or you think they should have called it something else, like the Ford F-150 Sparky or Igniter or something like that? Let me know in the comment section. Coming around towards the rear, there are a couple things that this truck has that are options, and I'll show you that in a second. But if you notice, we got the LED taillights, just like up front, very contemporary modern design, and it mimics the daytime running lamps. Here's another way to tell that this is a Pro level trim and not a higher trim. The lights stop on the corners. On the higher trims, the LED light flows across the tailgate. Speaking of tailgate, you have your lightning badge. I like the way that they did that badge in the lower corner with the American flag. And then of course, dropping all the way down to ground level, we got all of our tow hookups. This does have the tow package. That's one of those options to be able to tow with this truck. And of course, you have the rear motor that gives us that 4x4 all-wheel drive capability. Other than that, we're gonna bring down the truck tailgate here. It's not soft release, so you're gonna have to bring it down softly yourself. You'll notice that with the tonneau cover in place, all that dry storage area, you do have almost like a cargo mat in here. It's not a bed liner. So I am curious why they didn't just put rubber material all over the whole back of the bed. That is a zonk. I wish they would have done that. This does have the optional power onboard generator, and this is where you could plug in just about anything, including your house. This will keep your house charged for up to 2 days. Easy to get to, all your power tools. And then we do have the workspace station as well. Full measurements for when you're having a measuring contest against your friends. You even have an area where you could put your cell phone. So you're watching Raiti's Rides and you're at work and you're cutting and you're doing your stuff, you can watch Raiti's Rides right there on the tailgate. But you know what? The tailgate is one thing. Let's go ahead, let's open up that front mounted trunk and see what the heck is going on in this Lightning Pro. All right guys, time to get into that front mounted trunk. And yes, on the display behind the wheel for the driver, it says frunk. So that's what Ford is calling this. We hit the button to the frunk, you get a nice little chime, electric assist, even on the base Pro trim. And what you're gonna be greeted to is 14.1 cubic feet of space, nice dry storage, lockable. You do have storage underneath. You do get the full Henry Ford CD collection when you buy your Lightning. You got even more measurements. And what's great about this storage space, it's also a cooler. So that's another nice touch. Let me show you what's really cool. Not so much the cooler, but all this connectivity. We got 120 volts, USB-C, and a USB-A under a nice cover there. And then let's talk about power and range. So with this vehicle, what you're looking at is in base form, you have 2 electric motors. Combined gives you 452 horsepower, 775 pound-feet of torque. It does have a 98 kilowatt per hour battery pack. Range is 230 miles. You could tow up to 7,700 pounds. Payload capacity is 2,235 pounds. and the truck weighs 6,590 pounds. On a level 2 charger, to go from 15% to 100%, it takes 10 hours. And Steven showed you what the charge port door looks like on the driver's side. I think from a usability standpoint, having that front mounted trunk makes it a home run, especially at this price point. But you know what? Why don't we go ahead, turn this thing on, and see what it looks like when it's in motion with our F-150 Lightning. All right, guys, rain, go away. Come around another day. We got the rain to stop, and obviously the show is gonna go on. The show must go on. And I know you're saying to yourself, Joe, I'm digging this 2022 Ford Lightning. I've been looking at getting an electrified vehicle. I'm not into crossover SUVs. I need a truck. But I watched your Lariat trim. Nice truck. It's just the price was out of my grasp, out of my reach. How much is this one being the Pro trim? Well, very good question. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, just like I was. This one, base, has an MSRP of $39,990, so just a tick under 40 grand. Our particular one has the onboard generator. It's got the tailgate step, and it has the trailering package. Those things bring the MSRP still to a very low $44,000. Let's see what you get for the money to the door panels. The great news is it looks like F-150 style door panel. You're gonna have some dark gray, some light gray, and some black material. It's all hard plastic, but that's to be expected on the entry-level trim. No gloss black, even around the switchgear. You do have your center Twinkie pocket there. Easily put 3 electric Twinkies, and then the door pocket on the bottom is massive. Go to the Ren Festival, take this truck, because you could get 7 of those massive turkey legs and a couple goblets of root beer to wash it down. Going from the door panel to the dash, I do like the neoprene material. I like the way they did this silver aluminum trim. Of course, you got your glove box storage. You could put your Twinkie eating gloves up top and your work gloves down below. And here's where things really stand out. Instead of getting some little tiny 4-inch infotainment system screen, this is your standard infotainment, 12 inches. 12-inch infotainment system. Remember, the optional one is that large 15-inch portrait style. I like the horizontal style, and I love the way it's integrated into the center console area. Navigation, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. You got your off-road gauges. You can go through and scroll through a ton of information. Your bag camera, obviously we got the tonneau cover there. I could go back to our Pro Power onboard generator. You hit this, watch this, you're gonna like this. Boom, there's our truck. It tells us how much range that we have. Remember, we have the standard battery pack, so that lets you know what you got going on there. And then get right back to home, easy peasy. Now the great news is Ford upped the game on their resolution of their cameras. You got your backup camera with trajectory, your 360, you could even zoom in, look at that. You could count all the pebbles in the asphalt. You could even read Walker Ford on that front license plate. That's how good the resolution is. And then guess what? We go right back to park and we're back. You want forward-facing camera? Check out that Raptor. If you haven't seen the review of that one, it's live on Raiti's Rides, and a Ford Mustang. So we got you covered on the front of the business. Working your way down, we get actual knobs, radio controls, standard AC controls, plus we got a 12 volt and we got a home power source. Kids, don't stick your Twinkie in there. It's gonna hurt. Large pocket area up front in the center console. Put at least 1 pound bag of Skittles. Today you could see the rainbow. I could also taste the rainbow if I had some Skittles. There's a USB-C, a USB-A, and then the rest of the center console is flat black. And like I said, I'm okay with that. 2 cup holders, you got your Slim Jim holder, we got our shifter for our direct drive transmission, and yes, you can impress your friends by folding your shifter, or you can make it pop back up. You do have, if you want to eat healthy, area on the side for bananas. So you got your banana pocket on the side, easily put, I would say 2 bananas. Get your potassium It's important in life. This one has your standard center console lid, nice soft material with the stitching. Open it up. What do we got? We got our Planner's peanut tray with your grip anti-slip material so your peanuts don't slide all over the place. And then you got enough room in there for your crystal bust of Elon Musk's head. Right there in your center console. Put this back, close it up. Seats, not leather, not cloth, they're vinyl. So crazy on a base model not to have cloth seats, but it's very durable, light gray finish. Of course, you're gonna get manual controls for the passenger. I have manual controls for the driver. They're easy to figure out. If you want electric assist, you gotta go higher up the food chain. And don't even ask me about a sunroof. We're in the base model. But why don't you come over here, because guess what? I may not have a sunroof, but I got 12.3 inches of visual pleasure I want to show you behind the wheel of this Lightning. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. On the Pro level trim, what's interesting is that there's actually no carpet. You get this rubber floor because they're thinking that maybe that this would be intended more for a work truck. But like I said, comparing this to an XL traditional trim in an F-150, not even close. You still get the same great amount of space. Steering wheel, it is gonna have that Rubbermaid style steering wheel, no leather, but you do get the flat black on the buttons. It's a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel, and like I promised, there's your 12 inches. 12.3 inches of digital gauge display. It's got your range, it's got your power, it's got your charge, the whole 9 yards. So that's really like a clean layout of the instrumentation, and that definitely makes it feel not like a traditional base model. But let's get in the back seat and see what your rear seat passengers are going to experience in this Lightning Pro. Hey guys, back seat time in the rear seat area of the F-150 Lightning. And like I said, just like any internal combustion engine F-150 you've been in, tons of room back here. Now the backs of the seats, you do have vinyl all the way around, but there's no pocket. So if you have your 12-foot Subway sub, you're gonna have to put in between your legs. Just don't squeeze too tight because you might be squirting mustard all over this place. Now, command center, pretty substantial. You got 2 cup holders. You do have a 12 volt, 2 AC vents, and USB-C, USB-A, and a home power source. So that's the good news, especially with this being a Pro trim, that base trim level. Lots of headroom in here. Let's say you're having your monthly bagel party and you need to get that huge barrel, that 75-gallon barrel of Philadelphia cream cheese. The rear seat lifts up. No storage, but you'll be able to get that Philadelphia cream cheese barrel back here. And if you're wondering, well, is there a center armrest? No center armrest, no sliding rear cab glass either. But that's to be expected since this is a base. But you know what? If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle in this electrified F-150. All right, guys, we're inside this F-150 Lightning Pro trim. Leaving Walker Ford. Are you ready? I'm ready. On throttle. Little bit of a chirping tire there. Like I always say, a chirping tire is a happy tire. So you're gonna get that familiar, crazy, instant torque from the electric motors. That's the thing that always gets everybody who's never been in an electric vehicle, is that thrust that you get when you go on throttle. Definitely getting it with the twin motors in this setup. And to think about, you could have even more performance from your Lightning if you go with the extended range battery and the larger motors. But the good news is the seats, even though they're not electric assist, very, very comfortable. And that would make sense because and when I say Ford is gonna want you to feel comfy behind the wheel and have it feel familiar. I think that's the nice thing is that if it wasn't for the pure quiet sensation in here, the great news is it's laid out just like any other new Ford F-150. Getting to the 12-inch infotainment system is easy peasy, well within reach, and just cruising down the road, it's nice because it rides really well, because remember, you have that battery very low in the chassis, and that's going to help lower your center of gravity. And then we have those beefy sidewalls on the 18-inch wheels, and that's gonna give you a more comfortable ride as well. All right, guys, here we are on the highway, and what's great is just the cruising capability of this vehicle. Obviously, having the smaller battery pack, you are a little constrained to, you know, taking those longer journeys, and if you do, you're really gonna have to map out where you're gonna, you know, hit up the charging stations. But if you're looking for that truck that's familiar to you, but yet has that full EV capability, I'm telling you, this really gets the job done in a very good way. And I can't think of many electric vehicles besides a Chevy Bolt or a Nissan Leaf, where you look at the price point of this truck, what they're bringing to the table, it's actually quite surprising. So that's another nice thing to remember, is the technology side of things in here. But let's see how she handles in a little bit of a turn. Obviously, with that center of gravity, it's gonna really help having it nice and low. Look at this. Really smooth. Good feedback on the wheel as well. I'm happy to report there's not like 30 different modes on this truck, which I actually think is better, because then you don't have to play some game of what mode do you want to be in. It's just, hey, you get in, you turn it on, and you go on throttle. Here we go. And I'm telling you, you got to be careful, because when you're going to merge, when you're going to pass somebody, you come up pretty quick behind them. So just be on your toes for that instant torque. But just a very familiar yet new experience in this Ford Lightning. Let's see how we really handle. Here we go. On the brakes. A little bit of regen braking taking place. Turn it in. Here we go. Round and round and round we go. Little bit of slide there. Like I said, these are not high performance tires. They're Michelin Primacy tires, but once you get that dry pavement, really nice and smooth. That actually made it a little bit extra fun in that left-hand bend. All right, guys, once again, on throttle, on the brakes. Here we go. Nice and smooth. On throttle. I tell you, until you get bored of the instant torque, it does bring a smile to your face. My thing is, I predict for most people, after 2 months, it's gonna become a normal thing, and it's gonna lose its luster a little bit. So just something to be aware of. But if you're looking for that price point, I don't know of any other truck, and there's not many because you're looking at the Hummer EV truck, that comes in at this price point and brings what it does for the money. But hopefully this has been a nice overall review for you on this F-150. We're gonna get back to Walker Ford and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been a hot and heavy day here at Walker Ford. I definitely want to thank Frank Walker, Weston Walker, Tracy, Austin, the whole crew, getting us access to their very first 2022 Ford Lightning, especially the Pro Trim. Let me know what you think. Is this worth the price? Is it the best bang for your buck if you want to go with an electrified vehicle, especially a full-size pickup truck? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. We got to thank the hardworking, never changes his mind ever, but I'm allowed to change my mind, Stephen Flood Photography, working that camera like a champ. Thank you, Stephen, for being so accommodating and so amazing with your camera skills. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.